Welcome to Daily Dose. My name is Robert. I'm here today, joined by friend Russ. Russ, I forget, have you been on the Daily Dose before? I thought you had.
Um, Good question. I don't think so.
Well, that's a shame, and I'm sorry not to have had you. You're a longtime friend of Yes and Exercise, a longtime improviser and player. You're a very talented musician as well. The stuff you do poetically and musically is so fun. I know we've featured call there from Dad. We'll get to him in a moment. I know we've featured your music before, including your Jam for Joy song, "Find Your Joy," which is spectacular, and people can find it here on the YouTube page as well. Tell me about your journey for improv because just the other day you led a class for an hour, and I would love to hear about your journey and how that class went.
My journey, I'm trying to remember the first, I'm trying to remember who introduced me to it. And I'm thinking it had to be some common thread with with another area in Parkinson's. And it might have been somebody from the Parkinson's Exercise and Action group. But anyway, a name might come to mind. So yeah, I found out about it and I was immediately intrigued. After I, attended my first session of that, and I'm a big fan of Whose Line Is It Anyway? So I saw some similarities there. Then I just started becoming, you start stuff, you find something you like and it starts feeding into like all sorts of thoughts and you start digging for everything. So I became a junkie. I was like binge watching all the Who's lines, and then I was finding little articles and books on improv, and I learned. I like to joke around, and I like humor and that type of thing. And I saw the same thing happen with several other people, but I learned gradually about, the whole yes and thing as opposed to trying to make the joke. Um, and you could still be funny, but you just let it happen naturally. And this
Yeah.
class that I taught just the other day, it was on a Friday, it was last Friday. Yeah, I tried to emphasize that whole yes anding thing, and they caught on pretty quick.
So
So
give
that
us
made it more
parameters
fun.
on this. You got how many students were there, and where were you? And it went about an
Okay.
hour.
This was at the Huntington YMCA on Long Island, and we had about 17, I think it was 17 people.
Great.
Yeah.
And mostly
And
from the Parkinson's community, or were they just all?
there was really only one person that I knew of had Parkinson's, senior community though.
Okay, cool.
So like mostly 65 and older.
And what was their
And
response when you because they know it's improv, you show up and you start introducing it. I'm always interested. How do people, sometimes it could be stuck in mud from the start, or sometimes people jump in. It depends. What was the response?
we start with mirror, and I think the response was good, and also kind of like looking around, like they're looking around at each other, like what are we doing here? Almost like confusion.
Yeah.
You know. It's,
How did they
um,
respond to your opening song? Did they move well to that? Did they enjoy that
oh
part of
yeah,
it?
yeah, they like that. They were all smiling. I did Love Train. Figure I'd pick a low-hanging fruit, like a classic feel-good song.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that kind of got them in the mood, and then we swung into let's yes, let's. So they got to do motion and say what they were doing, and then everybody repeated yes, let's. So that was like.
Yeah, let's break that down for a second so people who are watching maybe don't know that game.
Mhm.
It's a great choice by you to put that right up front because it is simple to understand and you're right, it gets you physical and it backs up everything you're trying to give them with yes and, right? I mean, you're saying yes and then participate, right? Accept and participate. And people for the most part did well with that. They enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think the simplicity is important because there, when you get into more complicated games, there is the, the cognitive function of it. But I think in the beginning, more emotional and feeling comfortable and all those kind of things are more important. So just doing the simple thing where each person would just say, let's do something. Let's throw a baseball. And
Yes,
everybody
let's.
and everybody just says, yes, let's. And it's just such a simple thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's successful, so
Well, hey Russ, tell you what. Yes, let's come back in a minute. That's our first 5 minutes. We're gonna follow up because there's more to tell. This is a great start. See you on the next dose. Okay.
okay.